Sir, sir, you can start program?
Yes.
Oh, sir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله سبحانه فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. فأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله لا نبي بعده. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. And welcome back to our program, My American Jihad with me, Imam Shamsi Ali. In the last few days, we have been on and off for some other engagement that is unavoidable to me. But Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are coming back. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this opportunity. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this great blessing that we can be here together. And hopefully we can continue this learning, because learning is a life process in Al-Islam. Learning our faith, learning our religion is not an instant. It's not just reading a book and come to a conclusion that we know everything in the religion. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, seek knowledge from the cradle until the graveyard. In other words, that this is a lifetime process. Learning is a lifetime process. And every single thing in the religion is about the ilm, it's about knowledge. So alhamdulillah, we are coming back again to talk about my point, that the last point that I left, and that is about the importance for the Muslim community in the Western society, in the Western world, to prepare a solid generation. And the last point that we discussed is about marriage itself, that how marriage basically is an important element in that process. That the wrong step in the marriage can be a wrong step in preparing future generation in this country, in the United States, and in the Western society in general. And therefore, it is very important that marriage is to be taken into consideration, because marriage basically is the cornerstone of the family. Marriage is the foundation of the family life. And once again, a wrong step can be a wrong steps forever. Therefore, it is very important. For the moment we are looking for possible partner, a husband or a wife, it is the process of the beginning of the journey. Till the marriage itself, fulfilling all the requirements of the marriage. And we talk about all these. And so today I am going to enter into some requirements of the marriage to be valid Islamically. And of course, some young people mistakenly understand that by simply going to the city hall and having their marriage in the city hall by the court, they had become husband and wife. That is wrong, and it is not acceptable in our faith. Because in Islam, for marriage to happen, there are some requirements to be fulfilled. Certainly, number one is the agreement between the two couples, and particularly, I would like to underline the importance of the girl's agreement itself. And the reason I am underlining this particular point is because there is an ignorant practice in some Muslim countries, which is not only against un-Islamic, but it is against the Sharia. That some fathers tend to force their daughters to marry someone without her consent. And of course, this is a jahili, this is an ignorant practice that cannot be accepted by our faith. Because the one who decides for her future, the future of that girl is the girl himself. I think we mentioned the story when a girl came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, cried, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked her what happened, and she said simply this question: are we girls have the right, or do we girls have the right to say no to our fathers? So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not answer first yes or no, but he said to her, what is going on? And she said, because my father just forced me to marry someone that is beyond, this is without my consent, that is something that I don't accept. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to her, but did you accept that? And in the beginning she said no. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that that marriage didn't happen. And after some time, she left. Then she came back again, saying to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, basically, I accepted it. I just wanted to make sure that we girls have the right to say no to our fathers. The point here, brothers and sisters, that the consent of the girl, and of course the consent of the boy at the same time, is one of the important requirements for marriage to happen in Islam. Traditionally, go back home, either it is in Bangladesh or Pakistan or any Muslim world, the witnesses, along with the officiant, the qadi, are going to ask directly to the girl, is there anybody forces you? Is there anybody, ask you or, basically push you to do this, to be a wife? And if she said yes, then marriage must not be pursued. Such an important requirement in Islam, that the girls must be consented to the marriage. She must have consent agreement to that marriage. This is number one. Number two, the presence of two formal or official witnesses. Sometime when we sign a paper, these are the two witnesses are signing as well, along with the official. Why then witnesses are so important? Because marriage in Islam is a sensitive issue. A Muslim boy and a Muslim girl living together is a very sensitive issue. And therefore there must be some people who can be witness that that boy and that girl had married. Because there is no fitna, there's no gossip, rumors anymore will be spread out in the community. Because there are some witnesses saying that I have witnessed. We are the witnesses of their marriage. This is number two. So witnesses are important requirements for that marriage to happen. Number three certainly is what we call in Arabic language al-mahar, and that is the dowry. Dowry means a symbolic gift given by the husband upon the request by the girl or the bride. And it is an absolute right for the girl to ask. She is free and she has an absolute right to ask anything from her future husband. Upon reflecting the meaning of mahar or dowry here, I came to my own personal conclusion that the meaning of mahar basically is a symbol of responsibility. That from that moment and on, that boy is ready to be a man, is ready to be a husband, is ready to be fully responsible for his family life. And therefore, the first test from his wife is, this is about mahar. And if the wife is asking something and the boy said no, it means the marriage doesn't happen, because it is a requirement. Mahar can be paid in advance, or maybe can be paid later on, according to the agreement. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says that the easier is the most blessed. Don't make it difficult, because in some Muslim land, in some Muslim countries, mahar had become a burden upon the boys to get married. And that's why we see some Muslim boys are getting out from their own countries to find someone to marry, because it is so difficult, because the girls' families are imposing such a tremendously difficult amount of mahar on the part of the boy. Sometimes they ask about the house. They ask a lot of money. That is not the purpose, my brothers and sisters. Here is to fulfill the requirement as a symbol of that responsibility. That the husband is ready to be responsible man, to be responsible husband for his wife or for his family. This is number three. Number four, certainly, is what we call al-ijab wal-qabul. And al-ijab wal-qabul simply means that the girl is offering herself to be married according to some, requirements that is required to be fulfilled. And the boy directly will accept that offer, and acceptance is called al-ijab wal-qabul. Al-ijab wal-qabul. The last requirement for this marriage to happen is the agreement or the consent of the wali. It's called guardianship, al-wilaya. The Prophet Muhammad said, La nikaha illa bi wali. There is no nikah happens, or nikah is not accepted without the consent of the guardians. And therefore, according to the majority of the scholars, except Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Abu Hanifa has a very minority view, says that it is okay for the girl, when she is matured, particularly when she is a widow, to decide for herself. But still, the majority of the scholars, Imam Shafi'i, Maliki, and others, all of them say that wilayat or guardianship is required in the marriage to happen. And therefore, it must be with the consent or the permissions of the wali. And certainly, the first wali is the father. In the absence of the father, then any immediate family members or male, like older brothers or younger brothers who are adult, can be her wali. So these are the 5 requirements of marriage in Islam. When this happens, then we come to the ceremony itself. And for that, of course, you have the officiants, you have the witnesses, you have the mahar ready. But one thing I'd like to mention about the mahar. There is a wrong concept or perception of the mahar, particularly in the South Asian nations, in the South Asian countries, that sometimes mahar is to be imposed on the girls, and that is not the Islamic tradition. The mahar is to be imposed on the boys, on the groom, not on the bride. It is the responsibility of the boy to give something as a symbol of responsibility to the bride, and not the girl to give to the boy. But there is some influence from other cultures that the girls must prepare something for their future husband, which is not Islamic. So brothers and sisters, marriage in Islam is such an important, and we explained this lengthy before. But let me just go directly into what are the pillars of successful marriage in Islam. And we're going to talk in this coming episode on possibly several episodes. But number one, as we mentioned repeatedly, that nothing can we achieve in life without intention. And so the question, and that is, I call it the fundamental question into anything that we do in life, the answer to that question must be something that is shaping the future of your marriage life. And that question is, why I am marrying her, why I am accepting him as my husband, for example. The word why needs an answer. And that answer will influence, will shape, determines your future life. The way you answer to that question why, that will shape the way you conduct your family life in these coming days, months, or years. For example, when you ask yourself, why I do marry her? Why I marry her? And when you say I marry her because she is beautiful, you get it. Because you marry someone for that beauty. If the answer is because I marry her because she is smart, you get it, because she is smart. If the answer is because I marry her because she have a good family, you get it, because she has a good family, or respectful family. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us when he says, "Tunkahul mar'atu li arba'." A woman is married for 4 reasons. A woman is married for 4 reasons, and certainly the boy also is accepted. His proposal can be for 4 reasons as well. Number 1 can be for jamaliha, its beauty, can be for wealth, can be for lineage, family, connection, respect for family, for example. But then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Walidiniha," because of her religiosity. For the man is akhlaq. Lidiniha, deen is so important. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam guaranteed when he say, "Faddal li dhati deen," take even religion is more important. taribat yadak, your marriage is going to be stronger. So again, number one, and this is the first ever foundation for a successful marriage, is about intention. And every one of us should ask this question: why I marry? Why I accepting to be my husband? Why I'm marrying her to be my wife? This question need to be answered by each and every one of us on daily basis. And if you marry someone because of beauty, beauty changes. If you marry someone because of popularity, popularity changes, no matter what. And so on and so forth. But if you marry someone because of this solid foundation, and that solid foundation is that you marry someone because of the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the rida, for the mardatillahi azza wa jal, because you want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If that is the answer to your marriage, taribat yadak, your marriage is going to be so solid and strong. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all and strengthen us. May Allah subhanahu wa